All right. We got the thumbs up from Paris James.
Oh, man, I didn't even see it. Holy smokes. So, Cornbread, you got a building for your house?
Well, it ain't there yet. 10 to 12 days.
What kind of building did you get?
It's a 10 by 12
Brick.
wood building.
What you going to keep in it?
Prefabbed. I'm going to put my bike in it, and my tools, and stuff like that.
This has been an ongoing deal for Corn. He has a list of things that need to get done and bought that he's in desperate need for, and he's finally made the move to buy this building.
Yeah.
Well, he's too busy grubbing around trade day to get anything done.
That's true. Yeah.
Buying old mutt dogs and stuff, man.
I did go there after I went to trade day and made the deal on the building.
Now he's got somewhere he can put all his junk that he buys at trade day.
Yeah.
In that building.
Oh, man, a building. A 10 by 12 is not very big either.
No, it ain't real big.
I mean,
no.
a shed like that, it is for junk. I mean, a shed gets so full of junk. Have y'all been in the shed I got at my house?
That's where you get shed of stuff.
That's right.
You can't even walk in it.
I'm going to keep mine crisp, son.
It's amazing how it piles up.
Well, if you want any walking room, then you've got like 2 by 2. So a shed has to be packed full.
Right, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got that done, Cornbread, because now maybe we can finally come over and visit you one of these days.
Well, I still got to get a privacy fence and a gutter up.
And a kennel. You know, you own half a squirrel dog, and you ain't even got nowhere to put it.
Half a house dog.
He owns half a ghost face.
Yeah.
Good night, man. Well, I'm glad you're moving in the right direction, CB.
Thank you, Bob.
Welcome, everyone, back to the 307 podcast. We're glad you're here. You thought that was funny, didn't you? Boy, we did it today, boys. We made some good running content today.
Yeah.
Running is back in style around here. I've made up my mind that for the next 10 years, all I'm doing is running. I ain't doing no more of this kayaking, no more of this mountain biking.
Well, you going to be doing some more kayaking in about a month,
Well,
bud.
I'm talking about after that's over.
Okay.
After that's over, for the next 10 years, don't ask me to do nothing unless it's running, all right? In terms of my hobby. Don't ask me if I want to go on a bike ride, okay?
You selling your bike?
No, I'm going to hold on to it because it'll be good 10 years from now.
There'll be something better that you'll want in 10 years.
No, that light speed don't go out of date. That's a titanium frame, man. So I just wanted to go ahead and make that announcement today.
10-year running commitment.
I'm about to dominate, son.
You gonna do any rucking?
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
You know, I don't reckon I've seriously rucked since I was in the Navy. I remember the longest ruck I've ever done was 18 miles. And I did it with a 45-pound, 55-pound ruck or something, and it collapsed the arches of my feet. And I could barely walk for 3 or 4 days after that. Yeah, it was
Beaver tail foot.
It was 18. It was in SEAL qualification training at land warfare in a place called Nyland. It's a big desert. So it was an 18-mile ruck through the desert in that soft sand of that desert in an old Alice pack. You know, the old green Alice packs. That was my rucking career started and ended right there with that 18-miler. Have you ever done 18 miles with a ruck?
No.
Have any of y'all?
Well, it depends on what you count as a ruck.
This
Pretty heavy backpack with 8. Yeah.
This was like a race.
Yeah.
Like the whole class started like you were racing. So you were pretty much, you were trying to kind of shuffle and jog the whole way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was rough, man. You can get into some rough stuff with that rucksack if you really want to go a long ways and go fast.
Especially if you start jogging with 50 pounds on your back.
I don't know. I may do a little rucking.
It's good for running. Good supplement
on the
for running.
weekends here and there.
Yeah, I may
Bone density.
I may do a little rucking on the weekends. You guys got a ruck training plan, don't you?
We do. Yeah, I like to ruck myself.
I just start a club.
Yeah, we about to pop off something big. We're not going to prematurely announce it.
No, but it's going to be big.
We ought to pop off with something big.
Man, big things happening around here. Big things happening.
Big ideas.
Well, before we get into the show today, I do want to tell you that this show is brought to you by our partner at Barbell Apparel. And I have on these are their everyday carry. Isn't that right,
I
Blake?
think it's the Adapt Carry Edition.
Adapt Carry Edition shorts. And this is like a hybrid short between like a running or a gym short and like a tactical short, right? It kind of has a mix of features of both. It's a little thicker, abrasion-resistant material. It's got big pockets on the outside and then internal zippered pockets on the inside of the main front pockets with waterproof zippers. It's got belt loops, so you can actually wear your gun belt with it. But for a pair of shorts out on the range or tactical games or even just if you conceal carry on a day-to-day basis, you need to have a belt on. It's really a pretty cool concept.
Yeah.
So, Adapt Carry. Blake, will you put a link to these in the description of this episode for us?
Mm-hmm.
So people can check them out.
Yeah.
So, Barbell Apparel, we've been with them for a long time. They're awesome people with an awesome product. They're constantly innovating, coming out with new stuff for us, the end user, to take it out into the field and be able to get after it and be comfortable and look good while we're doing it. So check them out at barbellapparel.com. They've got everything that you need for many different types of fitness endeavors and even just day-to-day apparel that you want to wear to work or whatever it is you do. Thank you, Barbell Apparel, for making this episode of the 3 of 7 podcast possible.
There is a sale going on right now. It's like an extended Memorial Day sale. So it's not a bad time. All pants and joggers are $99. I know that's part of the sale. So any jean or anything like that is $99 at most. So that's a good time to get it because it's a high-quality pair of jeans that last. We got a lifetime guarantee, right? So that's a pretty good deal for a pair of jeans like that. I've got them on right now, so I like them too. So either one, we'll put a link to both in the show notes.
Make sure you get that done, Blake.
You might have to post today's. So I'm going out of town. You need to brush back up under my supervision.
Oh man, you know, for this week's podcast, it's been difficult for me to kind of nail down exactly what it is that I wanted to cover on the show today. There's so many things, you know. One of the things that I got to share with my wife yesterday, CB, is your lesson that you shared on our Comms Check episode for Patreon, which will be dropping on Friday on Patreon. And I was just sharing with her exactly what you said, and I just think it's such a powerful, part of what the Lord has given you to share with other people to kind of make them think, right? Yeah. And so I was sharing that with my wife, man. And I was just thinking how, what you, it seems like you are really able to do is to look at people and see them for what they actually are. Just a broken, confused, scared, jealous, whatever. You're just able to look at them and just see them for what they actually are. And I think that's a really powerful gift, man. And I think that we also need to recognize that that same reality is true about ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I almost think that's a foundational element of it is you need to realize the truth about yourself in order to even to be able to look at other people and say, well, this is the reality of who we all are as human beings. And I actually mentioned that on my latest truck talk where, you know, I think there are some people who have followed us for a long time or whatever, have heard a lot of my speeches and stuff like this that have kind of elevated me, and they get disappointed when I don't meet their expectations. And it's like I am also a liar, a hypocrite. I'm also jealous, afraid, angry. I am also all of those things, the same as every other human, right? Now, what happens when you receive the Holy Spirit is you then, when you are those things, you feel conviction around it and you repent of those things. But the reality of it is you're still struggling with all those things just like everyone else. And then when you look at other people and that's who they are, like, well, they don't have any, they're just stuck there.
Right.
Without Christ, like, they're just stuck there. Like, there's not even any, they don't have any hope whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've just been thinking about how powerful it is and how much I should look at people through that lens. So yesterday I went out in town, and I'm not kidding you. I stopped 3 different places, and in all 3 places I ran into someone who was a fan. Literally, in one spot I stopped, somebody pulled off the side of the road and stopped and got out of the car just to talk to me. They were driving by. And I was getting so frustrated with them because I didn't want to talk to anybody yesterday. I was getting so mad at them because I was looking at them through the wrong lens.
Right.
Like, who is this person that thinks that they can come and inconvenience me? Like, they don't know what my day's like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it's like, well, I also don't know what that person's dealing with. And I also don't know how I could potentially just have a few words with them and maybe help them through whatever they're going through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And kind of in this same vein, I've been guilty of it too. But I'm just getting to the point in my life where I cannot abide this whole masculinity message of strength. Like, I just can't abide it anymore. Like, I just see so many influencers out there talking about, oh, you know, I can make you stronger. You got to get stronger. Look, I've been guilty of it too, man. What I'm realizing as I kind of mature and well, I'm really growing weary of this world altogether. I don't know if that's happened to y'all yet, but I'm growing slap weary of it. Is we should actually, everything's backwards. We should actually be thanking the Lord for the weakness of our flesh because it's pointing us to our need for Him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But how often do you thank the Almighty for the weakness that is in you, that you are, like, because it's pointing you back to Him, right?
Right.
I don't know. I think this has been something that's been developing in my mind for a long time, and it really started for me when I was doing that Colorado trail, that mountain bike ride, and I got to the point where I was sick and I didn't think I was going to be able to finish, and I'll never forget that prayer that I said with James Ward, of, look, Lord, I'm tired of asking you for strength. If I need to be made weak here, make me weak. If you want me to finish this thing, well, give me the ability to finish it. Like, that's it, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it reminds me of, the Apostle Paul in whatever he was dealing with the weakness of his flesh, when he continuously was asking the Lord to take it away from him so that he could be stronger. The Lord's response to the Apostle Paul was, no, you're going to have to deal with this weakness, whatever this thorn in your flesh is, because my strength, the Lord's strength, is made perfect in our weakness. You don't have to seek to be weak, by the way. You don't have to try to be weak. You just are. And there ain't no getting around it. And anybody that thinks that they have some special anointing on them or something that can come at you and build you up and, make you strong. So it's a daggone lie, man. I mean, it's literally a lie. I don't know. That's just the ramblings of what's on my mind today. And I'll tell you what, another thing, I'm going to be looking forward to when we get this nonprofit up and running so that we can give these daggone youth the opportunity to see how weak they are, to go ahead and set them up for what they're about to have to learn in life. Chili was making fun of me today because during my content today, I kept talking about that summer camp. I was riding around this summer camp, man, and these people send their kids to these stinking summer camps, and I'm looking around, and I'm looking at the camp counselors and mentors. They're kids. It's just kids training kids, and it's all about just having a good time and laughing and all this. Look, man, I guess it's all right to have a good time. But, like, the last thing these stinking kids need is another good time here in America. That's the last thing they need, is another good time. I'm about looking forward to giving some of these youth the opportunity to realize how weak they are. That's a grand lesson.
Yeah, it is.
It's a grand lesson.
Yeah, most definitely is.
I had to wait a long time to learn that lesson. So I'll be glad when we get that up and running, man. I don't know if there's anything else that exists like that.
What, a youth beatdown?
Exactly right.
I can't think of anything.
I guess it's all right to have a good time.
Well, when all you do is have, look,
that
you
can't
live
be
in
all you
freaking
do.
America, man.
Yeah.
Like, all you have is good. Like you might need a little less encouragement, and you might need a little bit more slap in the face.
Yeah, it's funny. It seems to me like the development of a person needs every, and maybe even say needs training in every experience of life. Like, you need every facet of life and need to experience it starting when you're young, or else there's something wrong. Like, kids that are like they never experience hardship. They never experience their own weakness. They you grow up and see them as an adult, and they're like, there's a problem. There's a deficiency. And kids likewise that are abused, or maybe not even abused, but just, I mean, they literally have never, they don't know what playing is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they have issues when
they've constantly been beat down.
Right. Like they've just constantly been beat down. Like they have real issues. And I don't think any of it's bad, but you have to have it in whatever is deemed as appropriate, but kind of appropriate amounts.
I agree.
Because if a kid doesn't learn how to play and like what the rules of a game are, just to engage with other people in healthy competition, that's why I think sports are good for young kids, because there's just so many lessons that teaches them that it's kind of hard to get otherwise. And, but then again, like, if you don't learn what it's like to fail and get a beat down in a healthy way, you're missing something, man. So all that's part of what trains you for actual life. And it is weird the state you find some people in when they've only experienced one side of that. They're not good.
Yeah, you're right.
What do you think that the Bible means when it says that we should edify or build each other up? What do you think that means?
Call each other to a higher standard.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a decent way to summarize at least part of what that is saying.
Because it would seem that would be contrary to what Chad's saying. I don't think it is, but I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think it is either, because, the goal of what you would do with youths to put them through training or something like that, that where they struggled and failed and were weak and they saw their weakness and had to confront it and actually deal with it instead of just being shielded from it. Mm-hmm. That, as an end goal, would be to make them better and call them to a higher standard and
100%.
Edify them. And I would say,
yeah, I think people hear that and they think that it means tell the people that they're doing good and tell them that they're capable and that they can do these things, and that's not what it means.
Well, it seems like edifying, it means like be honest.
Yeah.
You tell people, I mean, I think people should hear, it's good to hear that you're doing good when you're doing good. Like,
right. Yeah, you shouldn't lie to them.
I think that's good for kids to hear that, especially from people that they respect. Mm-hmm. Hopefully their parents, but some other mentor, like, that is edifying, but it's also edifying whenever you screw up to be told you just screwed up.
Yeah.
And here's how you can fix it.
Yeah.
So like honesty is kind of edifying. Mm-hmm. Whether, including when it's positive reinforcement or correction to they did something wrong.
If I think about how does our Father show his love for us? He does that by not allowing us to be ourselves. Does that make sense? The Lord does not allow you to be yourself. He doesn't allow you to run off with the fleshly desires of your own heart.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now.
Like that's how he shows us the one of the ultimate forms of him showing us his love is by basically saying, no, you're not going to do that.
Right.
You're going to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. When you said, hopefully the parents are doing that with the children, that's cliche to say, well, the kids nowadays or the generation. Well, those kids were raised by somebody, and somebody allowed those kids to be taught by playing nothing but video games or being on the internet or however it may be. And it's always seems so many times under the guise of, well, I want to work and be able to give my kids stuff that I didn't have.
Yeah.
But a lot of times what gets neglected in that is you're not giving your kids actually what you did have. And that's that kind of love that you're talking, hey, no, this isn't the right way to act. This isn't the right way to respond. And however you may need to teach those lessons through whatever accords you have to teach them is how you have to teach them. So the sacrifice is like reversed. Like people sacrifice time and money instead of sacrificing the time and money to do what's important. Like you may have to make $60,000 less a year, so you're there raising your kid, and Fortnite ain't raising them. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Or the school marm,
or World Star, or Pornhub, or whatever. I mean, really, you know. And the reason I say these things is because the industry I was in, like when the COVID hit, especially in the job market, like people just quit working because they was going to get checks and they didn't have to work. And like the people we were having to hire were like very young kids that were coming straight out of high school, and they would come in there and they had special feelings like, they didn't know how to play. You couldn't cut up with them. They took things very, very literal, and that, for lack of better words, they was weird.
Yeah.
You know, and it was so easy. I seen a lot of the other guys, and thank God I didn't do it. I seen a lot of the other guys, oh, man, it's just this generation. They're not no count. Like, you ain't going to be able to teach them nothing. But if you would sit down and say, hey, dude, you can't be late. Like, you just don't have a choice. Instead of just slap down them and explaining, you are actually valuable. We hired you here, so if you can start at this time, you get to work. If you can't, you don't. So that's how you're going to be valuable. Number one of the day, your own time. And then we'll show you how you're valuable for your first hour. And then we'll show you how to all the way to lunch. And then after lunch and so on. And if you like really say, I'm going to take my thoughts and how I learned the value of that and show them that you're trying to give them some type of value to make them credible at what they're doing, most people will listen to them. But if you say, man, you're just like the rest of all y'all, you know what, y'all ain't nothing but half homosexuals, you play video games, you got lip piercings, like your whole generation is a mess.
Yeah.
You're not going to get nowhere. You're actually part of the problem. You're actually part of the reason they're like that.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
But somebody raised this generation. They did, yeah. I mean, somebody can say, well, they raised themselves. Well, whose fault is that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's 100% that whenever you think you do a bad job parenting, I think a lot of people feel that way. Well, if you so much as care genuinely about your kids, you will do a better job parenting your kids than letting somebody else do it or letting the internet do it.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
really, like that can sound cliche too, but like a bad parent is better than the internet raising your kids. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, I know, and to drive the point home of the difference really is genuinely caring about your kids, and so much as even caring to try to spend time and actually teach them what you know and show that you care about them. And like I say, just hearing affirmation that they did good at something. Like I knew people growing up, man, that they didn't think they had a good life, but they didn't think their parents cared about them really at all.
Yeah.
And they felt that way.
Yeah.
And they probably didn't. And they had a great life, but boy, that set them way back. And you could probably trace a lot of their problems back to that right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just crazy how much of an impact that matters way more than all the ways people think they fail as parents is like, well, I shouldn't let them do that. And I gave them that, like that crap. Yeah, it matters, but that's secondary.
Yeah. I learned something from my boys when they would have friends coming over, just things that I sort of acknowledged and picked up on throughout the years when they would have friends spend the night and hang out. It was real obvious to see who was actually being parented when they come over to the house. And this is why. It wasn't because that kid acted out. It's because that kid received structure really well and didn't want to go home. Like, they wanted that. Like, the boys Buck especially had friends that would come over that were allowed to run the roads and do whatever, and got in all kinds of trouble at school and so on and so forth. They weren't bad kids, man. They didn't have structure. They would come over to our house, and we would have to literally say, hey, next week's Christmas, you've been here 2 weeks, like, you got to go spend Christmas with your family. And they would be like, well, my mama don't care if I stay. I can call and ask her. And be like, well, no, like, Christmas, we want to spend it as family, and we have places to go. And it's not that we don't want you to go, but we really don't have room for you. And we think it's important for you to be with your family at Christmas too. Dude, that happened numerous times with numerous different kids. And it wasn't because we was spending money on them, taking them to Six Flags. No, you was at the house. We'd go outside and play turkey hunt and hide and seek and dodgeball and this and that. Maybe I'd take them hunting, deer hunting, something like that. But they wanted that structure. They seen, Buck and Cooney being told, all right, 10 o'clock, y'all are going to bed, but at 8 o'clock, we're going to get up in the morning and cut grass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they would latch on to that, dude. I mean, you could just tell they didn't want to go home.
That's good, man. Well, I think that, Lord willing, hopefully we'll be able to, as a team here, kind of make our own unique contribution to that part of our society at some point. And I don't know where we're at with the nonprofit thing, but I know you've been working hard on that cornbread. But
yeah, I actually have an appointment in a couple of weeks. I was going to tell Blake about with another guy that's got a really, really legit ministry for young adults, single parent kids. So I've got a meeting with him to talk about his knowledge on it.
I'm pumped about that, man. Yeah, that's gonna be that's my vision of what I want that whole mission to be geared toward. Is providing an experience for young men, especially, not to have another good time, not to be told, oh yeah, everything's gonna be all right, but to provide an experience for these jokers to get a little bit of taste of what life is actually about to be like. Yeah. It's kind of my overarching vision of providing that, man. And I think people out there are going to appreciate it.
Yeah, I do too.
For sure. Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest problems that we constantly struggle with throughout this life is forgetting that we are weak. And then we remember, when we do remember and we get knocked down, that we are weak. It's then realizing how weak and helpless we actually are. And that can actually be a gift if you realize that is the main thing in your life that's going to continuously point you back to your need for Christ, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. That's what was on my mind today. What do we got from Patreon today, CB?
Patreon. I actually got this question today. This is from Steve Putnam.
Putnam.
We know Steve Putnam. He was on the basic course.
Team 30.
Yep.
With respects to the increase in ultras and their popularity, thoughts on ruck divisions?
I mean, it goes right along, doesn't it?
Ruck divisions in...
Well, finish it, Corn.
I've been
Good
doing
grief.
a fair amount of events with no ruck division, but choosing to do my own. So he's rucking while he's racing.
He's like rucking at an ultra.
Race directors keep saying it seems like a great ad, but not seeing too much too far.
Well, I guess it just depends on the speed at which you can ruck. I don't really have an idea of that, but if I look at if I was to look at a traditional 100-mile race here in the mountains of Northwest Georgia, and you added a ruck division to that, I mean, you're going to have some joker out there for a long spell. I mean, you're just not going to be able to hit the cutoffs. You know what I mean?
But where it's perfect is a timed race like what we do.
Yeah.
8-hour timed races.
We actually have some people come out to our
ruck.
our races with a ruck.
Yeah.
I know it. And that's the venue to do it, where, you have an 8-hour race and you say, okay, we've got Blake Hughes and Roman and all those dudes going to line up and they're going to run it and they're going to cover 50-something miles and race. But then you've got another division that, you set the weight criteria or whatever and you say, well, they're going to do the same thing and they're going to cover maybe half that, whatever. But there you go. That would work.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of that out there.
No, there's not. And I think it's important that you do, as the race director, you would have to standardize the weight.
Oh, yeah.
In order to compete in whatever that division is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a cool idea, man. Yeah. I think that should be something we add to our race out at Mountain Mama Farms.
Yeah.
Coming up.
You think there would be interest in other ruck competitions?
Absolutely, I do. But now I'm biased. I like rucking myself.
What do you like about it, CB?
It's the only thing he can do.
Well, that number one, like I did a jog Saturday. If I jog or run, I'm hurting something right now, and I'm working on not doing that. So less injury, less chance for injury, rucking. Because it's a slower pace, like I can ruck in town, and I ain't got to worry about, oh man, I'm stopping my run to try to cross this road and so on and so forth. So that dynamic is there. And the people in my life that need to work out, like Cooney and stuff like that, like if I go on a jog, he's not going to go because he can't keep up with me. I can put on a ruck and he can hike, and so I like that aspect about it.
And you can talk.
Yeah, you can talk while you're doing it, and it keeps what heart rate zone is that? 2? Like 120, 125?
It depends. It doesn't matter.
Like
a little lower.
I stay there constantly. It's not hard to stay at just a sweet spot where you can just keep on going, for me anyway. Yeah.
So it is enough to like have a physical fitness component to it.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, I guess if you just will go fast enough with the weight. Yeah.
One thing I think that is neat about it, is that it's endurance training that you can progressively overload like weight training. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because, it's cardiovascular exercise. It's endurance training. You may cover 10, 20, 30 miles, whatever you wanted to do. But you can ramp up take progressive overload principles and get comfortable with a 10-pound ruck and then a 20-pound ruck and then 30 and then 40 and then 50 and then 60, like as strong as you can get. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool about it.
And you can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
You can do it at trade day. You could do it at Walmart.
Well, let's not get
at the car show.
Let's not get
you
silly.
could do it at the car show. Yeah, you could do it anywhere.
Well, let's not get silly.
Yeah. So I like that as well.
That is true. No, it's all good points, man. Yeah, we may add something like that to our next race, Steve. It's actually a pretty innovative idea. I mean, we're not going to call it ultra running. We would have to call it ultra rucking.
Yeah.
But no, it would be cool to have a division for that and have some guys to be able to come out and girls and actually be able to compete.
Right.
If that's what they like to do. That's a pretty cool concept.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think there's enough people that enjoy that, that you could put together, a decent little field, and it'd actually be pretty fun to watch them compete.
Yeah, it would.
It would be. No, that's a great question, man, and a great suggestion. That I think we can easily incorporate. So
just be careful not to beat the arches out of your bottom of your feet when you're walking around Chief Flatfoot.
I'm gonna tell you what. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what. You get 45. I think that's the weight pack we should do. 45 pounds.
45.
Yeah, I think we should do 45 pounds because that's not so heavy that you're not going to be able to move quickly. But it's also not light by any means when you're talking about 8 hours
Right.
of movement.
Wasn't was it Theodore Roosevelt that said
Oh gosh.
the military
Said
special
45
forces
pounds.
for 50 miles in 24 hours or something like that should be the standard?
What was it?
I think it was 50 pounds in 50 miles in 24 hours at 50 pounds. I want to say is what he said the standard should be. And I think Kennedy said the same thing.
Theodore couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That freaking bull moose
I'll
wasn't
look
doing
it
that.
Hey, Theodore was legit, son.
He was pretty legit.
Teddy bear named after him.
Blake, you got anything up to this point?
No.
I know you got a big mission trip
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah, I'll probably have plenty after that. Don't have a lot before.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what happens.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of speculation.
No.
On the
just,
front end?
no, going over there with no expectations.
It is cool the part of the world you're going.
Yeah.
It's a unique spot.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Chill, man. What you got from the news today?
Corn.
Jeez.
He's too busy looking up Theodore's quote.
Well,
It was Roosevelt, by the way.
I don't know, man. I don't even want to bring, I'm working on not being as negative, but a lot of the news that I would bring or had to bring was real negative. it's real negative.
Yeah, didn't some cat in Colorado come out and throw a bunch of Molotov
Exactly.
cocktails at people?
that was
what
one
was
half
that all
of it.
about?
He's acting
Yeah,
like he
I
was a
wa-
landscaper, wasn't he?
That was
I
one
want
half
to hear
of it.
about that.
We've got a dispute in the White House, real negative, and then we've got this, real negative. So I don't know much details about this other than he does not like Jews, this fella, and he appeared to be some sort of a protest / demonstration, pro-Israel
Yeah,
in Colorado.
which is odd. Colorado's a
Yeah.
very liberal state.
Yeah, very. But this guy just he began not fire. He didn't have a open attack with like you said, Molotov cocktails and things like that, and
What is that?
it's like a firework, isn't it? It's a bomb,
It's a
but
bottle of alcohol with a rag stuffed in it to where when you throw it and the bottle busts,
Kind
it
of
just
a
scatters
bomb.
flame everywhere.
So
yeah,
it's on fire when you
It
throw
sounds
it.
like a
Yeah.
gas bomb.
I don't know what
essentially.
you'd call it.
The
Yeah,
rag's on fire.
hybrid, but people got burned from it, and
They kill him.
no,
He surrendered.
I believe so. Yeah, he was apprehended and taken into custody, and nobody perished that I know of, but they did get injured. He just went into that protest and started attacking them, and it's interesting to me the discussion that follows attacks like that, because there's obviously the media playbook. I saw a good image of that. Like anytime there's a shooting or an attack, the media has to filter it through certain criteria. It's like, well, the first question is, what race was the person? What race was the person that was attacked? And it's like, well, okay, if they're this, then we go this route. If it's this, then we go the gun control route. If it's actually
Flow chart.
It's a flow chart on how the media should respond to a given attack, and it's really accurate. And but then there's also an interesting discussion that happens amongst more rational people of just like, how do you actually stop that? And obviously Colorado being a real liberal progressive state and gun laws being what they are, that opens the door for attacks like that. But even if there are citizens with guns, you're not going to be able to stop all of that from happening at every demonstration. It's just like, why is that so prevalent in America? Just, targeted attacks like that, whether it be school shootings or protests, and then people attacking protesters. Like, I don't know.
Wouldn't you say it's prevalent everywhere?
Yeah, and, I try to be decently careful, at least, of whenever I say things are uniquely American versus the world.
Yeah.
Because I'm very ignorant of what most of the world operates like. I'm more familiar with America. But it does, like, I feel confident to say that there is more of that in America, like just more random, like strange acts of
against certain people.
certain people. Yeah, I mean, I do think there is. I think, but maybe not. I mean, maybe part of that is just our media's coverage of it. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know. It's either way, whether it's more or less in other parts of the world. I mean, to me, the question still remains like, why is that such a prevalent thing?
When you look at you know, the whole mass shootings and all this stuff, yeah, obviously they happen more in America because
in America because we have guns.
We have guns, and so. You know, that's always the argument for gun control.
Yeah.
If you took all the guns away from people,
it would stop shootings.
It would cut way down on those types of things, right? But the fact of the matter is, freedom is dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Like that's what people forget. Like you will have to sacrifice freedom for security.
Yep.
Always. There's not this perfect solution because here's what happens. If you take all the guns away, yeah, you cut down on all these violent acts and criminals and all this stuff, right? But then what happens? Then you are basically just subservient to the government. Like you can't. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's why that's not. That's why that's not a good solution. You just have to. You have to realize that if you are going to maintain some level of freedom, it's going to cost you some level of security. You know, and the more freedom you have, the less security you have.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, things like mass diseases or pandemics really do like it shows the various thought processes that people really have on what amount of freedom they're willing to trade for security.
Oh, my
like there
gosh,
is but there's a vast discrepancy in what people are actually okay with. I mean that's a big graph with people falling on all different parts of that spectrum. Like there's some people who are about willing to sacrifice zero amount of freedom for any security. They don't want any security. Mm-hmm. Some people they like a little bit. They like, you know, to feel a little bit like they've got, you know, some protection, and some people want all of it.
Yep.
Like they will trade it all away for it. And it's you have that mix of people that are trying to live cohesively. So that's a little bit difficult, you know, for all of that spectrum to try to cohabitate a landmass is interesting experiment. But it brings into mind to me, we've mentioned it, I think, on the news before, that Trump was going to come up with the Golden Dome.
Yeah.
But we never really talked about it. And to me, that goes along with that discussion, like to actually talk about it, is if we do that, if there is a ramped up missile defense system over the United States, it's not just going to be that. There's going to be more, you know, a bigger ramp up in other security measures, if you want to say, and that will reduce our freedom even further in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last time that we saw that major shift was post 9/11 with the Patriot Act, right?
Yeah.
So we gained a vast level of security, but we gave up our own privacy.
Yeah.
That's the trade-off, man.
Yeah.
Like always, it's the trade-off. Like, you know, I definitely lean more toward the side of more freedom.
Yeah.
And less security. It boggles my mind why we cling so tightly to this life. Anyways.
Yeah.
Like, it just boggles my mind. Like, Why do you cling so tightly to this life? Like, it's just, it's wild, man. You know, like, I have two questions on this story right here. One is, whatever is in a person that drives them towards these protests and these parades and these concerts and all these gatherings and all this stuff. Like, I must have been born without that gene or something.
You just
like,
mean the protest in general.
yeah, like,
I agree.
what on earth
Yes.
drives you to go and be a part of something like this?
I don't know. I
don't get it,
man. I think it's why we don't vote, though. Really? Because, like...
Hold on, no, wait. Corn, do you like to go to protests?
I've never been to a protest.
Like,
Have you ever had the urge?
Catch
No.
me at a protest.
I think it's tied in with that, though. Really, it's like this civil discussion. Like, because the only protest that you could have even said that I would have been like, well, that's good. I didn't. It's not like I was tempted to go to it, but like the anti-COVID protest right in 2020 that was like trying to mandate, you know, when all that was coming down and people were like, well, no, I'm going to go outside and stand here where we're not supposed to stand. Like, I was a little bit like, yeah.
Well, we do protest.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, yeah.
Things that come out, rules, regulations, and we say,
To some degree, yeah.
we're going to do it anyways. That is a protest.
Yeah, I mean,
And we are Protestants.
that's a good
So
point.
we
are
do
literally Catholic
protest, but
protesters.
you just don't like to picket.
Well,
We are Catholic protesters, that's right.
And there'll be a lot of controversy around, you know, what we're saying right here, and you know, oh well, we have to maintain our right to assembly and all this stuff, right? But I'll just tell you how I view my existence during the few days I get to spend on this earth. Like, I am the master of my domain, meaning my home, my yard, my personal property, like where I exist. Okay, I'm in control of that, and you know, Scripture tells us, live a quiet life, work with your hands, and mind your own business. Like that's a way to surmise that right there, is like, hey, be the master of your own domain. Like, mind your own business, live a quiet life, work with your hands. As soon as I go out into the public, I'm accepting that I'm choosing to go into a place where I'm no longer in control, right? Like, I'm subjecting myself to whatever's happening out in this world. And that's a choice I make to do that every day, you know, when I go into town. But like, whatever's happening out there, until it comes to my front, now when it comes to my front door, it's game on, son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it comes, and so, I mean, if everybody had that mindset, it would be just as effective as your protest. If everybody had the mindset, look, you if you want to impose your lifestyle and your beliefs upon me in my domain, that ain't gonna work, buddy.
Yeah, but it's too late when you wait for it to get to your front door. That's the thing. With a tax or something, that's different. But with a law that's put out, or taxes, or what you say, well, I'll deal with that when it comes here. Then it's too late. You either die, like you just die in a gunfight, or not. So
it's just
it
so
only works
weird.
if the majority has that mindset, where the majority of people's like, nah, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, when it comes to your door and you die in a gunfight, then you're labeled an extremist, just like Ruby Ridge was. I mean, the feds come in on you, and you was a ex-Navy SEAL that had a wire loose and that went rogue on itself and went crazy. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you may have been 100% in the right.
Well, and I think,
And by the way, I'm not saying that my thought process is like the way that it should be or that it's the perfect solution. I'm just trying to tell you how I live my life because I have come to the conclusion that there is no fixing any of this.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
There is no fixing any of this. So then what can I do? I can live a quiet life, work with my hands, mind my own business. When I go to town, something might happen to me. Well, that's a choice I get to make. I don't have to go to town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But my thinking is like in all the protests I've seen as I've been alive and the ones I've learned or read about, what came from it. Really the only ones you can even think had any effect on anything was Martin Luther King's
Civil rights,
the civil rights protests.
Yeah.
Like maybe those were the only ones that.
well, I mean, yeah.
And you really don't know all the intricacies behind everything on that. But I think that he did some good work myself, and I would like to think that what he did led to a lot of things in civil rights. But anything other than that, like what all those hippies that was protesting Vietnam and spitting in the soldiers' face when they come back, and they didn't slow Vietnam down. They didn't stop the war not one single minute before it was going to be stopped. And that's probably one of the biggest, minus the civil rights, protesting eras in the country. Yeah.
Now people get out on the darn highways, block the whole interstates. And
well, do you know the difference in Martin Luther King's? I mean, they literally had a purpose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like if you go to a pro-Israel rally or a Free Palestine rally to hold a sign up and stand in the middle of somewhere, what is that? You have no goal.
Exactly.
You could ask anybody what the goal is, and they'd go, Free Palestine. Well, what's the goal? Hey, man, we're here.
Then go over there and help free Palestine.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're not what are you doing?
That's a good point.
But I mean, if you ask Martin Luther King Jr. what the goal was, maybe you hated him, he had a goal.
Yeah, yeah.
Like nobody, even at that time, that hated him or opposed him could have said he didn't have a clear, definable goal and was actually making steps to achieve it. The steps to achieve it, I mean, yeah, the speeches he gave in the marches, those were honestly more for demonstrative purposes. That was honestly less valuable, really. That was for optics. I mean, it was valuable because it was so big.
Right.
But, I mean, he actually did things behind the scenes. And like Blake said, they refused to abide by rules that were set. And when you get that many people to civilly disobey, that's effective. Mm-hmm. So, we're not crapping on that. I mean, I think the picketing thing or walking out, I mean, honestly, I don't mean you shouldn't be peaceful, but like a peaceful demonstration where you just stand in a field and hold a sign up, that does nothing. Like,
maybe it makes you feel good.
I mean,
That's the thing.
it does nothing. You know, like if you actually want something to change that you believe you can change, especially things that are civil. Like it was a race division in the country. You can affect that by organizing people. Like I believe in the right to assembly. Yeah, like Chad said, don't get us wrong. I mean that affected change culturally.
Right.
But you're not going to change you're not going to picket the Vietnam War enough to where the U.S. says, "All right, we'll hold back."
Right.
Like, you just ain't going to do it. That's a waste of time.
Yeah.
You know, I view that differently though. Like that's a protest, I guess you would call it. What King did and everybody else, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you know what I mean? But it gets lumped together.
It really is. Yeah, it's more of like an act of civil disobedience, like you said.
Yeah.
More so than a protest. And my second question on this is it's always, or it's been boggling my mind. And I had this conversation with my buddy Jesse the other day. Is it not strange to you guys how the nation of Israel has been hated for thousands of years Like across the span of human history, they've been persecuted, enslaved, hated. Like, it's the wildest thing, man. It is the wildest thing. And I asked him, though, well, yeah, we were talking about it, and he was like, why do you think that is? And I was like, look, man, the only way I can make sense of this would be looking at it from a spiritual lens. And, you know, looking at the fact that Israel is God's chosen people whom he preserved throughout the years in order to bring about the Messiah. And I know, man, you're gonna you hear people have all kinds of opinions on this, but like they still, in some weird way, have some supernatural attachment with the Almighty. Mm-hmm. And like, if there is Satan and he's in control of the world, well, who is he going to manipulate and sway the world to persecute and attack? It would be this chosen nation of Israel. And like, that's the only way I can make any sense out of it, man. It's wild. I mean, because when you look at, like, if there are these statistics out there on how small of a percentage Israel is in the world population, and how many contributions they have made to humanity. Like, it's some wild percentage of how many of them have been chosen to like receive a Nobel Peace Prize or something. Oh, it's huge, man. Like, the contributions they have made to humanity is in and of itself like mind-boggling.
But see, that's why. I mean, like, you could go deeper and ask, well, why are these people doing all this and so influential when they're that small of a population? But that's a more difficult question to answer than why are they so hated? Because why are they so hated is because they're doing that. I mean, all of the it's not anti-Semitic to say. It's just a fact. 99% of like people who you would say run the world are Jewish.
They dominate.
Like, they literally dominate. I mean, it's just a fact.
Man, yeah.
So that's why they're hated. I mean, because good night. They're this small of a population, and they win every Nobel Peace Prize. They literally have more geniuses in the engineering and mathematics field. They have...
And wealth and medicine. And
exactly. I mean, it's insane. So that's why they're hated, man. Because of their success. And, you know, and this is definitely... I mean, but, like, it's true. The banks and billionaires, and they outperform all of that. So... that's why they're hated. Why are they so successful at all that? That's what I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like there's some sort of supernatural component to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. And
a claim that you are, you know, proclaiming that you are God's chosen people will bring some hate on you.
Well, that's a good point.
I mean, it will.
Yeah.
You know, like, people hear that, and, you know, Muslims make up a lot of the world, and they don't believe that about Jewish people. And, you know, they are looked at by Jewish people as a whole and said, yeah, this spot right here, that is ours. And we are meant to, you know, like, they don't take that real well. You know what I mean? So to me, the reason why they're hated is a little bit easier to understand when you put everything into context. I mean, not that they should be hated, but you know how the human mind works, and you say, well, yeah, that's overtaken people and they hate them. But then you go, why are they? I mean, I personally have always wondered, like, why is that? I mean, why is that? I don't know. It's just interesting.
There's no other comparison in all of known human history to the nation of Israel. And what's tough too is because there is so much hate for that group of people, you don't even know, like, you don't even know what you can believe in terms of what you hear about them.
Yeah.
Because there's so much slander and propaganda. Like look at what Hitler was able to do to that people by way of slander and propaganda.
Yeah.
So when we see stuff and hear stuff about them and then it might creep into your mind like, oh dang man, these people are kind of evil. It's like, well, you don't even know if what you're hearing is true.
Yeah.
Like it's something else, man.
Yeah, it's wild for sure.
Yeah, because we live because they are kind of, such a central figure the world over, but especially in the Middle East, and the U.S. is so interested in the nation of Israel, you get propaganda on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
You get a strange level of propaganda that, like you said, slander. I mean, there's people in certain African countries that I heard describe this, and it was a good documentary on YouTube, and I can't remember the name of it, but I mean, they talk about how they are raised to hate Jews. And they literally, I mean, when asked, like, well, what is the reason that you're raised to hate them? Like, why are you supposed to hate them? They don't have one, but it's embedded, like, deeply from the time they're born. So they just are used to it. It's not weird. They don't question, well, why are we supposed to hate them? You know what I mean? And, I mean, there's propaganda the world over that way, but then there's also propaganda to the point of, like, I don't think, I mean, the leaders of Israel and the Netanyahu now, like, I don't agree with everything that he does or says. But there's propaganda on from the U.S. government that wants, they really protect, Israel's government. I mean, that's another thing. The government of the United States is not synonymous with the people of the United States. You can criticize the U.S. government and not be I mean, I don't hate the people of the United States, but you have the right to criticize the government. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't hate Chinese people. Like, I don't know any Chinese people, but I can criticize the Chinese Communist Party.
Right.
But with Israel, it's all lumped in.
It's all lumped in. If you criticize the Israeli government, you criticize Jewish people. And I don't know why that is. I'm not mad. I don't hate any Jewish people, but I think I could have some criticisms about the Israeli government. But that's kind of propagandized against. Very interesting. And we work so hand in hand with their intelligence agencies. Our CIA and NSA and unnamed intelligence agencies work with. That's all tied in. Very interesting. It's they're definitely an ally to the U.S. and that will definitely taint our perception as Americans.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. People can believe whatever they want to believe and think whatever they want to think about Israel, but I'm gonna tell you what. I ain't foolish enough to sit here and promote any sort of hate toward the people of Israel. I ain't fooling with that, son.
No, sure ain't.
No, I ain't fooling with that. Like Chili said, you can be critical of their government.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm always going to be on the side of their right to exist as a nation. I mean, they're an ancient people, and if you believe the Bible, they trace their origins back thousands and thousands of years. So it's wild, man. Well, it's a good topic, Chili. I was wanting to hear about that. Yeah. We didn't hear much about the guy, but
yeah, I don't know much about him.
Down a
he's
rabbit
not
hole
noteworthy
there.
anyways.
Nah.
Yeah, man.
Dude.
What you got in local news, CB?
You want a roughing or a lighting? A rough story or a light story? I got two. What you want?
What's local news got?
That's what a roughing or a lighting.
Just bring it.
So on Saturday, y'all been to Stone Mountain? You probably ain't been to Stone Mountain, Chili.
Stone Mountain,
I
Georgia?
think I went when I was a kid.
Oh, what been?
The literal Stone Mountain.
Yeah. A hiker Saturday morning found a burnt body atop a Stone Mountain.
Dang.
Yeah, and as of today, the GBI allowed it was suicide
Oof.
Who would burn themselves?
to death. That is rough there.
Jeez.
That's rough as a cob.
Yeah. 700 and something feet incline a mile and go up there and burn yourself to death. That's
Jeez.
that's the height of Stone Mountain. Well, the peak's 800 and something feet, but you can't get to the peak from there. Yeah.
That's not really a mountain.
Oh, it is.
It's a rock hill.
It's a rock hill.
You know that rock goes all, I don't know the total distance, but it goes all the way through Paulding County and everything underground.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that rock quarry is actually getting rock from the same rock that is hooked
It's all
to Stone
connected.
Mountain. It's all connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on lighter news, the Georgia Agriculture Department is asking citizens to notify them if you see a yellow-legged hornet. They were first found in Savannah in 2023, but evidently they now in 2025 are wrecking the honeybees here in the state of Georgia. They are wearing them out, and they attack all other pollinating insects.
There ain't no
And kill
yellow-legged
'em.
hornet here.
Oh, they're bad.
I've
son.
got these things flying around the house with like this big.
What are they?
It looks like a yellow jacket, but it's humongous.
That might be one
That
of
might
them.
be one. Yeah.
Well, report it.
Humongous. It's not. Don't look like a hornet.
Yeah, they kill all other bees, they kill everything.
Yeah. Well, been killing them.
Probably something ginned up in a lab in China somewhere.
Yeah, they're from Asia, but they also have
gosh.
some in the Middle East and Europe, but primarily Southeast Asia.
How'd they get here?
Probably come over on some cargo ship.
Connex box.
There was probably 2 or 3 of them in a cargo ship, and they dumped them off at the port of Savannah, and it went and got up in a dang live oak tree and said, "Oh, we're gonna make some babies," and now here we go.
Well, I'm glad you told me about that, Cornbread, because I'm going to have to keep a look at them honeybees at the house.
If you do, you better call
And,
the Department of Agriculture.
Yeah, I'm going to keep a lookout for them things, because I have heard they will decimate a beehive.
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean,
No, that ain't what's at my house.
the you got a picture of one?
You better be glad.
Okay.
You better be
It's
glad.
crazy how dependent upon pollinators we are.
Yeah.
You ever thought about that?
Oh, yeah.
If the honeybees die, we die.
Yeah, I mean bees in general. I mean,
That's what I'm. Yeah.
Did you know the honeybee is not native
Yeah, it
to
ain't
the
no-
North American
yeah.
continent?
Yeah. It ain't. It's what they allow anyhow.
Yeah, they
we
were
need to
they
get
were
rid of
brought
them.
over, I think, by Europeans.
We need to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Exterminate the honeybees.
There, I think there's like thousands of native bee species here, though. But
Right.
they're like little. They don't look like honeybees. They're like these little bees, and you
Sweat
can
bees.
create houses for them and stuff. We have those at the house.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, that they can go in and do whatever they do, but they don't make honey.
But they pollinate.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I hate to be negative too, but this old world's getting rough. boy.
Oh, yeah. That was a cob.
It's been rough.
It's been worse than this.
Oh yeah.
It was so bad one time God flooded the world.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Wonder how many people were on the earth then.
Tons.
Tons?
You couldn't even count them. You had to weigh them.
I do wonder that. Has that ever been asked much? I mean, how many people was that? Because we got, what, 8 billion now?
Well, they lived a lot longer back then, too.
Well, I know, but I mean, how many people was it?
If they lived
It was
that
a
long,
lot.
it was probably more than we got now.
Oh, Blake.
It had been around for a
More
while.
than we got now?
Yeah.
No.
They was living a lot longer. You think just because it was a long time ago, it wasn't that many?
Well, I don't think it was 8 billion.
Could have been 10.
You may be surprised, bub.
Yeah. Prove me wrong.
Well, he judged humanity by the flood, by the water, but it's coming to a point. The next time it's going to be by fire.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that. I don't know, man. Blake, we got
rough.
super chats today.
Yep.
Blake thinks there was 20 billion people on the earth then.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't forget our buddy in New Jersey.
Yeah. All right, we had Marty Bingham come in at $9.99.
Big Marty, what's up, man?
I was going to send a super chat last week, but AC wasn't working good, and it got a little stuffy, so I just DNF'd. But I'm coming in hot this week.
Good to see you on Resurrected the other night, Marty. Marty preached a good gospel message on Resurrected the other night.
Yep. Back in at $9.99, Marty Bingham. Just when I think Home Skillet is going to straighten up and fly right, he comes out with a truck talk about farting and anuses. Lord have mercy.
Home Skillet.
Yeah, that one that truck talk didn't go over too well. That was a little too graphic for people.
Then after that, he come in at $4.99, so he's reduced his super
tapering on
chat
off,
by
son.
50%. Is anybody checking his homework? We need to put him in the leaning rest for a minute when he acts up on us like that.
What's his homework?
But he came back in at $19.99.
Well, there we go, Marty.
Number 4, bonus chat. I'm celebrating my 65th birthday by running a 3-mile loop in New York City for 12 hours, inspired by Chad. I've learned that mental toughness is all that matters, so I didn't do much training. It's going to be big.
He usually calls it like forward ambulation whenever he's going to go run. Have you ever heard him say that? Forward ambulation.
Old Marty's a special dude, man.
You think he's only 65?
No, he's in his late 70s for sure.
Yeah, he's at least 80.
He's old as crap.
Thank you, Marty.
Lane Veld come in at $7.31.
American
He said,
of the Year.
Lane Veld is?
Yeah, he's American of the Year.
Y'all get ready for this weekend. It's going to be big.
Oh, it's going to be big.
Justin Milford, $10. Just an update. My life is starting to come together. My marriage is stronger than ever. My faith is stronger than ever. Lord willing, I'll be able to train with you 4 mentors of mine soon.
Well, good, Justin. I'm glad to hear that, brother.
King of Yona.
King of Yona.
Then we had Jim Rubart. You remember him?
Oh, I remember Jim.
He come in at $307.
Good night.
Thank you, Jim.
Yep.
Holy smokes, that joker just blew my cap off, son.
Now message.
No message.
Holy crow, man.
No message.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Jim, I appreciate that, buddy.
Thank you, Jim.
Appreciate that.
That'll conclude our super chats.
Well, guys, Lord willing, we'll see y'all on Monday for Monday meeting. Enough said.